Love After Lockup, Season 6, Episode 19, DNA All the Way, Troy and Zariah. Let's get into it. Shall we? Oh, yes, we shall. What's up, y'all? I said we ain't got to play that whole thing. Let's just go ahead on and get into this mess that we call Troy and Zariah from 90 Day. Did I say 90 Day? Y'all, I'm in love at the lockup. Child, I be doing so many shows. I don't know my from a hole in the ground. Now, before I do this review, if you are a member of 90 Day Fiance, we are covering special forces. Is that the name of the show? I think that's the name of the show. Today we covered the first episode. So if you are a member of Auntie's Advice, we are covering Special Forces with Jesse Smollett and Eva from Real Housewives, Teresa Giudice, her daughter. We covering the athletes. We covering it all. So make sure you got your notification bells on, so when we go live and we are talking about that you will be part of it. Okay, I put it up in the community wall today, so y'all start paying attention to the community wall. Also to the members, make sure that y'all let me know while you in there if you want to cover Plathfield. Somebody been asking me to cover, so y'all let me know if y'all want me to go back and start covering Plathfield or any other shows that y'all want me to cover for the membership. Okay, all right, y'all. So make sure y'all get up in there so that y'all can let me know what y'all are doing. Thank you so much, Rhonda. Okay, well, have you seen it? It's in the membership booth. Season 4, episode 1. We already done covered, okay? Sugar 48 is in the membership. It's in the membership, Sugar. It's out, boo. The video is up, okay? All right, so let's get into this, right? Okay. So I think that this couple was starting to be very boring, right? They really just don't have a storyline. They just wanted us to know that Zariah was pregnant. And so, they at the restaurant and everything, and they talking and they doing what they do. And, Troy is thanking everybody for being there, just seeming like he just so grateful and stuff like that. I think it's a whole bunch of bull crap. And he just trying to play the little game. He didn't had a breakdown with his father, which was understandable and stuff. And so, basically he gets a telephone call, or a text message or something downtown to his cell phone. And he goes outside, with the little girl, and he's out there with Iona, and they having a conversation about the baby and stuff like that. And absolutely. And so, they having a conversation, and he's basically telling her that, he don't have no hard feelings towards her. It's just him and her and the baby and all of that kind of stuff, right? And, basically he just want to be a father to the baby. He want to be around, this is basically his second chance. But when you emotional and you going through stuff like that, honey, you'll say anything. Next thing you know, he be out there on Facebook or somewhere else calling the girl all kinds of bees and hoes and all that old kind of old crap will be going on. It was just unbelievable, the stuff that went on the first season that they was up on this mofo. They was cutting up like I don't know what downtown to the Facebook. And it was this girl that's on YouTube, and I can't even think of the name of her channel, but I'm talking about every video they loaded up on that mop. I don't care who it was, honey. She was Iona, whether it was Iona, whether it was Miss Kern, whether it was Zariah, whether it was Troy. I mean, they was saying some vulgar, nasty stuff about each other as family members that you wouldn't even believe that they would be saying, honey. But I was out there on that girl. I was out there on that girl's channel like I don't know what, because it was so much stuff going on. And now everybody trying to play nice and stuff like that. Some of them had thought that, was coming out there saying that they wasn't filming and stuff. And we seeing them filming. Yes, we seeing them filming. So it just goes to show that you can't believe a god thing that that you hear when it comes to them. And one thing that I can say about it is when their page faces is up on something, they don't get a whole bunch of likes and clicking views and stuff like that. Like they just don't afford you nothing like that. Because I think that people just tired of them and tired of the toxicity. Why I can't even say that. But anyway, people tired of the toxic bullshit that's going on between the two of them. So when they sit up on our screens and stuff like that, right, we don't have no faith that any of this stuff is real or that they gonna get along past 5 minutes. Child, bye. It is what it is. So anyway, they up on this mofo, right? And she's sitting up there pregnant. And they, talking about the wedding and how he, they re-engaged and he, he proposed back to his wife and he apologized and all of that old kind of old crap, right? And then so, she gonna sit up there so, they told me, so, well, when y'all gonna have a baby? He said, after the wedding. She was like, yeah, after the wedding, because, it's a secret. So Troy was like, you sure you don't want to tell your parents? Now, mind you, this is after they done film and they sitting in and doing the green screen. He sits there and asks her a question like that. Why can't he ask her at the table before they got to the table? Anyway, so she was like, no, because, my parents don't know nothing about it and all that old kind of old bull crap, right? So, we go on with the bull. So, like I said, he out there with Iona or Ziana or whatever the child name is. Iona telling her that, he care about her. He just want to be a dad and all that kind of stuff. And I always love you and stuff like that. I ain't got no problem. I ain't got no beef with you. I couldn't tell, bitch. But anyway, so next thing they having their conversation, doing what they do. He come back in the restaurant and Zariah not going off. You know why she wasn't going off? Because it's Troy's father family. And she knew how to act, honey. She knew how to sit up in that seat straight. She knew how to act like she had some daggone sense. Yes, she did. So it just goes to show that this girl ain't as crazy as she tries to sit out here and pretend that she is, because when she was around that family, she wasn't acting out. She wasn't having no tantrum. She wasn't cussing nobody at the table. She wasn't banging on and snatching stuff off. She wasn't doing none of that, honey. She didn't even pick up a ketchup bottle wrong up around Troy father family. They probably would have her up if she had to act like that. You know what I'm saying? So she know who she could do what she would need to do. So anyway, we see them back downtown at the ranch and everything. And she like, Troy, don't forget we gotta open up these gifts from your coworker. And I was like, skirt, wait a minute, what coworkers? I thought that Troy said he had his own business. Why would Troy have coworkers? Troy the boss. So why Troy got coworkers? Where that come from? Did y'all catch that? Or was that just me? Because I was like, when did Troy have coworkers? Didn't Troy say he opened up his own business? Somewhere there's a lie. Anyway, so they open up the gifts and everything, and she's talking and whoop de whoop de whoop. And so Troy makes a decision to go call his mother. Hold on, let me pull up my notes about what he was saying about his mouth, okay? Okay, so would you say what happened to the fake charity? Exactly. She was supposed to have her own little company and all of that kind of stuff too. Once she teaches some kids and all of that old kind of stuff. Like, what in the foolishness is going on with this? Like, we sit up here, but we believe this stuff. We don't believe this stuff. We've been watching Love After Lockup. Most of us, y'all been with me from the long haul. And y'all, I'm going to tell y'all, I really do appreciate it. I appreciate y'all being with me for the long haul. I appreciate those of you all who come out every video and check your auntie out. I really, 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 really do. More than y'all ever know. Like, straight up. We family over this camp when we get up in here and we get to talking our talk and speaking our speech. We really are. And I appreciate y'all that come on the replay, that missed the live but come on the replay. And I know I don't stop and say that often enough, but I really, really do. And to my members, I really appreciate y'all. That's why I'm stepping my game up. I'm stepping my game up so that I can start doing reviews in the back of shows that y'all like, shows that we don't have to do out here. I'm starting to make time Okay, now I do got a life. Now I do got a life. That's not even, we ain't even gonna do it. Okay. I'm a grown woman. I'm a mama. I'm an aunt. I'm a sister-in-law. I'm a sister. You know what I'm saying? I'm all those things just like y'all. So I got a life. So when I can't get out here, I do be trying to do my apologies. But I want y'all to know that I really do appreciate y'all. Because some of y'all, it don't make a difference what I put up on here. Y'all gonna follow me. And y'all gonna look at it and give me that click and that view. And I really, really do appreciate it. And that's from the bottom of my heart. I just needed to go here on and say that. All right. So let me go to my notes. Because she starts having this conversation right with him. And I want to just, put y'all up on game. So Troy says, so Troy is sitting outside and they make a decision that they are going to be bringing Miss Kern down there, right? Because they, need to talk about it and everything. So Troy says, I'm not going to open them till they get here. So he says that he gonna get a train for his mother and get her out there. He said, I really hope that she does not come out here and pop off or give me any stress. But we're bringing a new baby into the world. This is Zariah, right? And we don't want there to be, a rift. We have told my family about the baby and they're so excited. What is it? A little plush doll, okay? But we have not told Karen because it's hot and cold with Karen. She's a handful. And Troy said, I ain't been home long. And it's like everything just happened so fast. So fast, and it got way out of hand, way beyond my control. A lot of the stuff that Troy went through with his mother was within his control, him and Zariah. And if you put down that weed or whatever it is that y'all smoking, maybe you will have you be in your right mind, and everything won't be this and be that and hold that and hold that and my mother this and my mother that and my, you know what I'm saying? And Iona this and that, and they going back and forth downtown to the Facebook, downtown to the social media. Back in the day, they all would have gotten fired. Because back in the day, if you went out to the public and you leaked anything, yours was gone. But now, they're not a little, they're a whole lot lax about what was going on. Okay. And so he says that, things got out of his control. And now that he's home, why didn't you ever, so he talking to his mother. They flash back and show where he was talking to his mother and asking his mother why she wasn't in his life and why she decided not to go down to the jail to see him and not nary one time. And so, she was like, that alcohol and stuff, had me tripping. She said the alcohol made me take a fall. And so he said, how do you feel about our relationship is now going to be with my wife? And she said, y'all don't know each other outside of the jail. So then they flash back on, when Karen was talking, the stuff about all of that. So Troy calls his mother on the phone and he was like, Mom, I want you to come out here and see us. And so Miss Karen was like, oh, okay, but I ain't paying for no train ticket. So he was like, we'll get the train ticket for you and stuff. She was like, all right, then call me when you get all the arrangements and stuff, man. So I ain't sitting at the motherfucking station waiting like I was the last time. So anyway, Troy go and pick up Miss Kern and everything. And, she gets in the car and she was like, I hope y'all ain't got no whole bunch of bull crap going on. And he was like, we don't have no whole bunch of bull crap going on, Mom. This is important, right? And so Zariah was sitting up there talking about Miss Kern like a dog, right? She was like, she be popping off and all of that, all kind of stuff, right? And then they went back and showed when she called Miss Kern a bitch, all right? Because Miss Kern was saying that she was having this relationship and this affair on Troy downtown while he was in the jail and stuff like that. And she had called the woman a bee. And I just, that thing just stung like I don't know what. But anyway, they was talking all of this stuff. And Miss Karen always felt she was So Zariah said, I hope that telling Miss Karen that we're about to have a new baby will kind of help us bring things together, squash all the beef, and move forward. She said, that's your mother at the end of the day, and I've done things, and somebody had to forgive me, so you have to forgive her as well. Whatever. So Troy said, I want my mother and Zariah to just develop their own relationship, right? So he got Miss Curran in the car and everything and picked her up from the train station on time this time. She ain't sitting out there with the little baby out there in the heat and they don't show that up. And so, Miss Curran was like, what's going on? He was like, I got something important to tell you. And so Miss Curran was like, okay, so did y'all break up? She was like, I mean, I don't really care, right? But did y'all break up or whatever? So, Troy's trying to mend his family and stuff like that and trying to go through this season, like he goody goody. And I don't think that he goody goody and stuff like that. And you know what? It just amazes me because I had saw a video and I don't remember where I saw it. Now, I know that this wasn't on YouTube. This was on TikTok where he was, I think he was dragging, according to Amber. And I was like, why do they get mad at us when we come out and we report the stories? I don't understand that. Now, I can see why they would get mad at me, right? Because I be throwing my little 2 cent and my 5 cent and my 10 cent in there, right? But it's all in the game because if we weren't the ones that was going on and talking about them and making them relevant, how would they stay relevant? The show goes off. Okay, so the show is off. You don't stay relevant unless you got people that are out there talking about you, especially if you a star, or you think you a star, D-list or whatever, D-list, A-list or whatever. We are the ones that make this thing go boom. We are the ones that keep your name in our mouths. We are the ones who just cover the show. And so while he was attacking her, I can't remember where I saw it, but I was so shocked at the stuff that he was saying, about her and everything. And, so the two of them announced that they having a baby boy. I think they having a boy. And I know that um that has probably been reported. I have not been out there in the streets. I have not been listening to any commentary because I've been really doing what I need to do for a family member. Some of y'all know, some of y'all don't know, but I've been really inundated in that right now. So I ain't been keeping my ear to the street. I don't know if they've been on YouTube. I haven't gone back to this person's thing, but I'm just really hoping that this change of heart and change of attitude is something that they really going to keep. Because I'm telling you, last season that they were on here, it was deep out in the streets, and I just was so tired of it. I'm too old to be going through a whole bunch of changes and stuff like that. I said what I said, you say what you say, and let's just keep it pushing. That's just how I feel about it. But anyway, the two of them are trying to act like they turning a new leaf, and I don't know, whether or not they've been out there or not. Maybe they are trying to grow up and develop their relationship with Miss Karen. But we'll see, how all of this go now that she's down at the house, because it looked like on the next one, okay, it looks like on the next one that Miss Kern gonna be fussing downtown to the table. But anyway, that is all of this couple got. Let me go ahead and get this couple out the way too while we out here, because this was so irrelevant that I just was so offended, because I was like, these people like really think that we stupid. Let's go ahead on and talk about this dumb couple where they take us all the way back to what they was doing from the beginning. They showed them coming in, getting makeup on, getting ready, walking through some old crickety house that they look like they put in. They put the green screen up in the back, but I'm just like, why do we need to see this? Who gives a fuck about Will and Courtney? That was squashed on the last episode. So I couldn't understand what in the world we was doing, looking at going all the way back to when he arrived and he's sitting outside and see her roll up with somebody else. We already know she's in survival mode. At first I just was like, she a hoe, she shouldn't be doing what she doing. But this girl is survival mode because all of y'all, no, I'm not. I ain't gonna say all of y'all, but some of y'all really came after me, right? Not came after me. That's an exaggeration, Auntie. Some of y'all really did not like the fact that I felt like Will should have still been taking care of this girl. Y'all was really, 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 really tripping because I felt like that. But what else was she supposed to do with her whole lifeline? What she been used to, right? Coming from this dude that married her 45 minutes after she got out of jail. Y'all was really after me and was like, Auntie, no, he ain't right, he ain't wrong. He shouldn't be taking care of her. Yes, he should have. Thank you so much, Brittany Scott, for the $4.99 super chat. Stop. I'm not about to do this with you, Auntie. Oh my God, you funny. I'm here for it. You better talk. But do we think Zeruiah and Troy should be baby making? No, we don't. But the one thing about it, okay, you can't stop people from, making, having accidents. Okay, thank you so much, Brittany. Appreciate you, boo. This girl is in survival mode. She gonna do the closest thing and the quickest thing that she know that's gonna get her money, and that means that she's gonna have to do some strange things for some change. He mad because she's sleeping with this person, that person, or me. He's making assumptions that she is, and then he busts out and say that they slept together. The same one that he been harassing about who she's sleeping with, who he has been saying he ain't taking care of her, who he has been telling her, get your money from Mark. Like, so you giving me permission, but then you mad that I'm taking advantage of the permission that you just gave me. She's in survival mode. I remember when I first had my baby, right? And I wasn't making that much money. Lord Jesus, them days. I remember them days struggling like a mother. Now, I never did some strange things for no change because I learned how, right, to build myself up, get more education, get some more training and stuff like that up underneath my belt, and really start going after jobs. But I had to go after jobs with my daughter in a backpack. I had to do things that I did not want to do. I had to do late hours and all of that kind of stuff, trying to get myself to where I am now. And I ain't even where I really want to be right now. But I always said if I had to go and do something strange for some change, I would do something strange for some change. And I've told y'all about my story when I first started, when I left. Well, he wasn't helping me financially anyway, but I did change my circumstances and my situation, and I moved out of the situation that I was in, right? And I remember the days when I had to make a decision of whether she ate or I ate. Now, Courtney don't have no kids, thank God. But she coming out of jail. She's institutionalized. She marries this man. She makes a mistake. And then he abandoned her. And he wondering why she's sleeping with all these different people and doing the stuff that she do. She begging for $60 from her mother, $40. Like, she in survival mode. She got to sink or swim. She moved in with this other lady, right? I mean, he come to the house, he banging all up on the door and everything. Like, what are we doing? And you don't expect me to be with every Tom, Dick, and Harry to make sure that I can get me a George Washington and a couple of Abrahams? Come on. Out this mother. I need to get me some Jeffersons. It's all about the Benjamins, baby. The way that he wanted to control her was by not giving her money. Well, that's the opposite, because that ain't productive for her or nobody else. Because at the end of the day, while you sitting there in another whole state, I got to worry about where I'm going to lay my head at. I'm in survival mode. And he don't never say nothing to lift her up. She going to sit up there and talk about, they said, who dropped you off? She said, a friend. Thank you, Gypsy. Hi, boom. I'm so glad to see you in the comment section. Hi, boo. She out here doing some strange stuff for some change because she in survival mode, and I remember being in survival mode. I remember having to make a decision on who ate. You got daggone right. I remember that. I will never forget that. And when you get to a point where you got a mouth to feed, you will do whatever you need to do. But now, like I said, that ain't her situation, but that's a whole lot of people's situation. And that's why I felt like the way I felt, because you don't just abandon her. You took oaths for better or for worse, for richer or for poor, for drug addiction or not. You knew what she was when she was coming about that camp. So guess what? She out here doing what she got to do. That's why I love y'all. And I'm up at 10 o'clock. That's why I love y'all. And I'm up at 10 o'clock. Don't nobody want to be in no situation like this. And you steady told me some, yeah, I guess you slept with about 20 men. You just want me to give you my body count. I ain't telling you nothing. And I like how she play around with them. I like how she play up in his face and let him think what he want to think. She said the dude that dropped her off, she had just met him last night. But still and yet, here it is, the man that's supposed to be taking care of her and loving her till death do them part is withholding $5.50 for a telephone call. That's why I was like, because he faked everything. I don't even think that if she could live with him, if she wasn't forbidden for living with him, that he really had a good place for her to lay her head in. I think all his money is in that car. I don't think that he's ever been the person that he's projected himself to be, because he looks so low down at her. And why would you marry somebody that's coming out of prison and you looking as low as he look on this girl? He don't get this girl no benefit of the doubt or nothing. You got to do what you got to do. And the moment that he would have told me that I was cheating, I would have told him cheating is sneaking. And I ain't sneaking. You know what I'm doing. Matter of fact, you gave me permission. So don't talk nothing out your. Didn't you tell me to go to Mark? Didn't you tell me to get my money from Mark? Then how am I cheating? How am I being deceitful? How am I doing something that you didn't give me permission to do because you said you weren't doing it? So don't come up in my face and talk to me about no and cheating when you have given me permission. And once you give me permission, I get to do what the fuck I want to do. And if you ain't paying for it, don't worry about it. You knew what it was. You knew that daggone well when I was up in jail. You knew how much money I was making and everything off of the guys. Come on now, stop playing. Don't even play with me like that. Thank you so much for the 199 super chat. Lost but not found. Not through cheating. We not staying. Okay. What y'all saying down there? Down here. Okay. She played for Will for support. He turned his back on her. That's when she switched up. But he slept with her. And when she stood out there and gave him that ring that she had drugged through the mud and that divorce papers, what did she say? You're going to be right back looking for it. You're going to be right back in my bed. That's exactly what she said. And that's exactly what that mofo did. That's exactly what he did. So don't do it. Yes, he is, Elizabeth. Yes, he is. She went on about her life. She said, sure, I don't want to sit up in here and interview with him no longer than I have to. He told me, so why did I go out there on those prison sites and stuff like that? Because I was lonely. Yeah, that's exactly. You was lonely and you was desperate. He was lonely and desperate. And he thought that he could look down on this woman, that he was better than her, and he won't. And he got exactly what he deserved. And that's what I see. Woo! I need some cowboy music. Woo! Up on my brim. Okay. All right, y'all. Let me get out of here because I got a couple of more couples I gotta talk about. Love y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all think downtown in the comment section. Peace, y'all.